Hello, hello. Excusez-moi. Right. Just gonna get this microphone up on here. Oh gosh, the weather is horrible. Ugh. Wait for some people to arrive. Oh, been a while since I streamed, so bear with me. Sorry about the clothes in the background. I've just got nowhere else to put them. The drawers are all full. I need to go through that at some point. So my TV is just there, and there's other bits and pieces there. So please ignore the messiness that is my room. I will sort it out at some point. Oh, hello, hello. Let's wait for a few more people to arrive. So if you can hear a noise in the background, I have, you can't see it, but I have an air conditioner. It's just really stuffy at the moment. It's very hot. Yeah, no, I've, I moved channels, but I have an update to explain. Ooh. Yes, the Chamber of Secrets. Good. You should absolutely try that. Oh, sorry, I've got a bit of a tickle in the throat today. So, there's only 2 people here, but hopefully more people will join. Well, 3 people now. So, this is a surprise video. I haven't done a lot on this channel recently because I took a break from it. When I say take a break, I actually quit the channel last year because I was very, very busy with uni work and life and all sorts of various commitments. I just didn't have the time for this. But I kept the channel open, and I've done the occasional live stream here and there. But I saw that I recently obtained 1K subscribers, which has taken me quite a number of years to get to that point. My channel started as a very bad movie review channel, and it's sort of evolved as time has gone on to get to the quality of where it is now. So thank you for being a part of that journey. I really appreciate that, every single one of you. And this kind of news, it's sort of I was sort of thinking about this, and I've been going through a bit of a difficult life experience recently. I'm going to share something slightly personal with you guys, so you'll have to bear with me for a sec. So, in about March time, I discovered that my father was diagnosed with cancer. It was prostate cancer. And for many months, we didn't know the situation. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know the outcome because the system in the NHS is ridiculous. But we've managed to get something going, and the treatment plan is going to start soon. So it's not in his bones or anything. He should get the all clear, but it's going to be a whole month of treatment to come. So I've not been very active on YouTube, even on my other channel that I set up, because I thought I couldn't continue this style anymore. But I mean, thank you, Doug, thank you, but it's fine. I mean, I dealt with the initial shock of it, and my mental health hasn't been great, to be honest. And also trying to deal with that alongside university and my job was proving very difficult. So I mean, I live with my parents as well, so I'm always around my dad. But I recently quit my job as well because I'm coming to the end of my university, and I was putting everything into my dissertation. So I'm nearly done with uni. My university finishes in about 2 weeks. So I'm getting things finalized, and then I will be searching for a job, although I might start searching a bit sooner. So yeah, and initially I transferred to another channel. I made a new channel called Pajack's Podcasts, where I thought I was going to do audio reviews going forward, because I just couldn't keep up with this channel. But here's the update. So you may or may not know where this is going, but today I had a big sort of talk with myself, and I sort of came to a decision, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to come back to this channel. Pajack's Perspective will come back, because I've got 1K subs, and I thought maybe I moved channels at a time where I was emotionally distressed, and I just thought I can't do this anymore. But I've sort of realized that I actually can do this. It was just the timing. I needed to give myself a break. So I will come back to this channel and do reviews on this channel. Probably soon. I would say maybe end of August, September time. So, and I'll go back to the style that I used to do reviews. So I'll go on camera and I will edit my reviews and talk about reviews there, because I've actually missed it. I've come to realize maybe I was a bit of a fool to sort of let it go. And obviously now things have moved forward with my dad and all of that stuff, and hopefully I will find a job as well. While I've got a bit of time, I might bring this channel back. So a bit of a reboot in terms of this channel. And because, again, I've achieved 1K subs, I would be foolish to let that go. So, yes, I'm sorry to all those people that I left you waiting for months and months for nothing. And I kept the live streams open just because I couldn't live stream on the other channel. So I thought, okay, well, I'll still do Q&As and stuff, but I probably will delete the other channel at some point. So some of those reviews that I did on that channel might redo, like the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes review. I'll do on this, and Inside Out 2 I will do on this as well. There's going to be there may be some differences to it. I don't know. There might be some reviews on this channel that I look over and just re-edit or re-upload to fit with the style, because I like consistency. And obviously some of my reviews feature the Mr. TARDIS 11 name, which I'll wait and see as to whether I change that or not. Requests, maybe, but again, you have to give me time, because if I end up getting a job, then it's going to be a case that I need to work full time. I need to, and after being a student for 2 years, I want to work full time. But my plan after uni is to apply for jobs that are like videography, so making videos, editing videos, which I love doing, and I do it here, and I do make my own films as well. So obviously getting a job in film is very difficult and very all-consuming. But I do want to have some kind of work-life balance. So that's why I'm not going to go into the industry far out, per se, in terms of like the big leagues. But I just want something better than retail. That's basically why I went to uni. So, yeah. Is this a Q&A? Funny enough. I didn't necessarily label this as a Q&A, but I will happily make it a Q&A once I've finished addressing you about this. So, yeah, and also with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine, I thought, well, I suppose people want to know my thoughts about that. So I have seen it, but I need to watch it again, because I went to a midnight screening and I didn't catch every single scene. I got most of it, but and I did enjoy it, but I need to go back to it properly and analyze it. And it was also, I went to a special screening today of A View to a Kill. It was kind of a last minute thing. I saw that there was this cinema in London, this independent cinema that was showing it. I don't live in London, but I traveled into London to see it. It was one of the few Bond films I missed during the 2022 re-release thing that Odeon did. So, yeah, I mean, I reassessed The View to a Kill a lot. That's changed a lot, in my opinion. And also with all the, Bond 26 stuff as well. I'm probably best to do that on this channel. So, yeah, that's it. I'm going to be back at some point, back to my old ways. I don't think I ever really wanted to quit, deep down. I don't think I ever really wanted to quit. It was just so much has happened in my life in the last 7-8 months. It's been a roller coaster. It just threw me for six. And I should have just announced that I was taking a break, but I didn't really know what I was doing, and I think I felt that something had to give in my life because I had so much on my plate. But I can't promise how regular the content will be, but I'll be back at some point. But yeah, so thank you to all those who have subscribed and helped me get this far. I really appreciate it, and I will keep you up to date about what's coming. I also saw Despicable Me 4, so you'll get reviews of Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'll try and cover the new releases this year if I can. And it's a real shame because I heard that in the UK anyway, there are some cinemas that are closing their doors, like Cineworld. So I'm a bit concerned that my next nearest local cinemas are going to shut. So hoping that's not going to happen, but we'll see. Anyway, enough about that. I will allow you guys to answer some questions. Sorry, not answer questions. Ask me questions. Sorry, I'd said that when I was reading a comment. 1K subs is a huge achievement. Thank you very much. I don't know if it's to do with 1K subs. I think it's if you get like 100K subs or something. I thought it was more than 1K. I thought it was more than 100K subs. Or I thought it was actually like depends on the views you get on each video. I know not all of my reviews have great views. Some of them are in the hundreds, but my rant videos are the ones that get the most views. I think what's the highest viewed video on my channel? It might be the Harry Potter video games ranking, or it might be the food fight rant. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to go and look at that. Oh, you can request me now, but as I said, I can't promise when I'm going to deliver it. Just give me 2 weeks to finish my uni stuff, and I'll obviously be searching for a job. So in that time, I will be able to do some reviews. So you can request me stuff now, and I'll try to make a note. But bear with me is the answer. Thank you very much, Harry. Well, the sort of job I'm, like I said, the videographer kind of jobs. They don't actually require you to have a degree, but it's preferential. So I will have a degree, and I will have other qualifications, plus all of the projects I've edited at uni and outside of uni. So I need to do a show reel, which I might show you guys. I've got another channel for the filmmaking stuff, which I told you about. So I might put this on here as well. But we'll see. We shall see. I'm out of work, so I need a job. Hello, Sam. Favorite Roger Moore Bond villain? Why? That is an interesting question. Okay, going through the villains. I think it's potentially Christopher Lee as Scaramanga. As much as I love Max Zorin, the movie that he's in, not the best. Well, then again, neither is Man with the Golden Gun, but I feel like that has more of a streamline to its plot, and it's not quite as bizarre as A View to a Kill. But Christopher Lee, he just has that gravitas. He just has that menace, and he has that sadistic creepiness. Like, he has that darker side. He grounds that film in a lot of ways, in a film that is almost tonally at war with itself in a lot of ways, because it's still trying to be fun and light, but yet it has those dark moments. Roger can't really sell the dark stuff with Andrea, and he does look uncomfortable in that scene, but Christopher Lee has a way of making the scene uncomfortable but making it believable, as if it's driven by his character. Like the scene where he caresses Andrea with the gun, that I think that alone makes him the best Roger Moore Bond villain. Although Kananga is underrated, I do like Kananga. Kamal Khan obviously is very good. Roger had some good villains. Drax was also very good. Roger's had a mixed bag of villains, but I think I'm going to give it to Christopher Lee, because I think he also, if I'm correct, I think he knew Ian Fleming, so I think he had a real understanding of what Bond was, and he had an understanding of this character. But he didn't try to just copy. He adapted his performance to suit the needs of the film. I mean, the third nipple thing is just a ridiculous kind of gimmick, but still, the idea of Scaramanga having a fun house where he shoots people, he charges $1 million a shot, it's kind of interesting. There are great ideas in The Man with the Golden Gun. It's not my favorite James Bond film by any stretch, but it has one of the best villains. He's so good, and he elevates what is I would say, a average script. He is the best thing about it, really, and he plays off Roger Moore really well. You actually believe that Roger Moore is actually quite intimidated by him. So Christopher Lee takes the crown there. What are your thoughts on Disney announcing Toy Story 5? I mean, we could have lived without it. I mean, I wasn't even that kind of hyped for Toy Story 4 at first, although seeing Toy Story 4, it did surprise me. I have to admit, I was very won over by what they did. It was a nice extension of 3. Well, 3 was a better ending, but 4 was a good epilogue in terms of Woody's story and how it wrapped up that. Because obviously his life was going to be different after Andy. You know, Bonnie was never going to be the same. One, she's a girl and, you know, has a different idea of what toys she prefers. So he's without purpose. I kind of think that's a good idea. But with 5 and 6, it's a cash grab. There's I mean, if it's as good as Inside Out 2, I'll be amazed. So I think they've really got to try hard to convince me that this is necessary. Because with 4, I had to be convinced that it was necessary, and it still was unnecessary in some ways, but I'm kind of glad they did it because we got to see that extension of Woody's story, and I think actually it does complement the third one quite well. But I thought after 4, you got away with it, so stop now. But no. What are your thoughts on Disney remaking everything? That's not a dig at you, that's a dig at them. Would I like a job in a library? Well, if anybody wants to shut me up, then they can hire me and put me in a library. But to be honest, probably not. I've worked in customer service for a long time, and you know, it's the pay is very low, and I feel like a library would be very low pay. I have to be doing something. I can't sit in a library and do nothing. I can't. I'm not really a book person either, so that doesn't really entice me. I would be so bored. I think the closest I've got to working in a library was my first ever job. It was unpaid. It was a charity shop. I did it just to put it on the CV. I didn't really like the job, and I quit it after 2 months. I just stopped turning up because I just didn't enjoy it. But I was 17 at the time, and one of the jobs I didn't mind was sorting out the books, but I wasn't as emotionally mature back then, so I should have stuck it out. But I have had other jobs since then. Oh, what would you change about school rules to make them better? I think more conversation with the parents, because I think certain parents need educating about children's social behaviors. My sister actually works in a primary school and is an SCN teaching assistant. If you don't know what SCN means, it means kids with special needs or difficulties, to put it that way. And a lot of the time, the parents are actually to blame. Some of the parents can be neglectful or just ignorant. They don't always understand the complex emotional needs of their child, or they're negligent, or they just don't know how to discipline their children. So I think the school should offer some education to parents that don't understand about difficult children. But it should be optional. Obviously, you can't force anyone, but I think it should be optional. And in terms of rules, I think security would obviously come into it in terms of like leaving the school, you know, study leave, and depending on what school you go to. In terms of primary school, there's not much more you can do, but in terms of like secondary school, I think just having more of a sense of trust. I don't really know. That's a good question, I think, because it depends on the area and depends on the school. I think the staff should just maybe offer compromises to the students. So, you know, do them a deal or such, if you know, to get them to behave. You know, if you do this, if you behave for me now, I'll help you with this, or you know, etc. I'm sure they do that anyway. I'm rambling on, but yeah. What was the most viewed video you made? Oh, you know, I kind of tried to answer this earlier. I don't know, actually. I think it might be my Harry Potter video games ranking. It might be that. And that was an audio ranking. Or it's one of the rants, potentially. Favorite year for movies in the 2010s decade? Ooh, that's a good one. Oh God. Um, there's a lot of choice there. 2012 was a good year because obviously, Avengers, The Hobbit, Life of Pi. There were loads of big films. Skyfall. So that's probably one of the big movie years. I don't know which one's the best though. That's a question. Um, I might say 2012 actually. I might actually say that the year, not the movie. The movie can go fuck itself, but the year 2012, we got quite a lot of good films. I would say. Uh, Thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. Oh, I've lost where I am. Do squeeze me. Ugh. Oh, sorry to hear that, Dinobot. Yeah, when you're in charge and you're sort of stealing, it's not good. It's very, they think people like that are so ignorant and think they won't get caught, but they will. And they need to be more careful. Can you review Thomas and Friends? It's not the sort of thing I normally review, but I could give it a go. You'll have to tell me where to watch it because I don't think it's in cinemas. If it's on any streaming service, you'll have to let me know. Is Despicable Me 4 worth the rent? Let me see. Yes, 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 and yes. Despicable Me 4. Oh, I know. It'll be fun to talk about it. What are your thoughts on the Quiet Place franchise? Oh, yes, I did see the new one recently. The new one was okay. It was just more of the same, really. It wasn't. It was very unremarkable, to be honest. It was okay, but I really like the first one. The first one is amazing. One of my favorite horror films, actually. I don't watch a lot of horror, but that one had a real beating heart to it. Second one was still good. Probably not as good, but enjoyable. And yeah, the third was just okay. So yeah, is Food Fight the worst movie ever made? It's the worst animated movie ever made, or one of them. Obviously, I've not seen everything that's come out, so just based on what I've seen, yeah, it's. I'd give it 11 Razzies if I could. Favorite X-Men final battle? Oh, it's a good question. I really like X-Men 3's final battle. I know a lot of people don't like X-Men 3, but that is one of my favorite finales. What else is there? Days of Future Past also, because it's quite hard hitting. And then there's also Logan as well, which is also quite hard hitting. So if we're talking about a battle sequence, X-Men 3, I think, because it's like a war. It's a war. But if we're just talking about climax in general, I'm going to go with Logan because of how hard hitting it is. Primeval Series 3. I'm not sure I quite understand. You're saying the other being I asked my friend to say what he hopes from Primeval Series 3. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Do you mean has he not seen it? Or, yeah, I'm not really sure what you actually mean by that. Sorry, you're going to have to clarify. Kamal Khan is a good choice. Octopussy. Yeah, Roger was treated to some great villains. Yeah, Christopher Lee was underused as Count Dooku. I think he did voice Count Dooku in the Clone Wars movie. I mean, the movie was shit, but at least they had a good actor like him. But yeah, I think he was very underused. Certainly in Revenge of the Sith, but still in Attack of the Clones as well. Bless him having to deliver George's ropey dialogue. Oh, Lihen Gaming. Oh, I've missed you. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Thank you for being one of the 1K. Appreciate that. What's going on with the movie theaters in the UK? Yeah, so basically there's talk of big cinema chains, in particular one called Cineworld, where there's talk of closing some of the sites down to save money, or because there isn't enough money to run them. So people's jobs are on the line. I think this is all a result of the economic crisis we're going through, which I think we didn't begin with the pandemic, but was accelerated by the pandemic. So it's a shame. And also the rise of streaming services have meant that there's not as much content coming out in cinemas now, and a lot of cinemas have to re-release old movies to get people to still come along. Granted, I love the fact that they're doing that, and I'll happily support, but I would have supported new stuff as well. So it's a dangerous time for cinemas. And somebody who's just done a film course, if the cinema doesn't survive, I've got no chance. Kristatos, Stromberg, Drax, Zorin, Kananga, Scaramanga, Kamal Khan. I think I would actually agree with that list, although I just switched the first two around. Kamal will be my second favorite, and then Scaramanga's my first. Yeah, I've not seen his performance as Dracula. I would love to see that. That'd be on my list. Oh God, that's a question. Would you rather watch Food Fight every day or Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes? Oh God. Oh God, that is a difficult question. This is by no means giving the film a compliment, but based on my past experiences of watching these films, this is going to surprise you, but I'm going to say I would rather watch Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes because it's better to look at, slightly more visually appealing than Food Fight. Food Fight is ugly to look at, even though it's a shorter film. It's just ugly to look at, and I just can't. I cannot look at it. It's horrible. Whereas Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes is horrible, but I can at least appreciate the production value. So by a smidge, I'll give it to Burton's Planet of the Apes. Hello, Ross. And happy birthday, by the way, for the other day. Have you seen Miami Vice? Yeah, it was directed by John Glenn in 1989. No, I'm only joking. That was License to Kill. I have not seen Miami Vice. No, I have not. How many years has it taken you to reach 1K? So when did I start YouTube? Technically, I started in 2010. So 14 years, 15 years? Yeah, it's quite a long time. But I wasn't that well known back in 2010. I technically didn't start getting more subscribers till probably about 2013, 2014. So definitely over 10 years I've been trying to do better with YouTube. Favorite Bond villain in general and why? That's a good question. I've lost the question. Where are you? Fuck's sake. I hate it when it does this. Sorry about this. Give me 1 second. Do you still keep in contact with any other YouTube reviewers? Yes. There's a few that I am close with, like Ross Johnson. We are now friends on Facebook, which is nice. Harry Thomas, we're very close friends. I've actually met Harry in person now, which is good. I used to be friends with 2 or 3 more, but I'm not friends with a couple of them anymore. Sam Harrison, we are friends on Instagram. So there's a handful. Favorite Chinese food? Oh gosh, well you should know, Harry, because we went for a Chinese. But yeah, I really like Singapore noodles, and they're just brilliant. The really thin noodles with like the chili and it's lovely, and all the starters like the sesame prawn toast and all of that, and sweet and sour chicken, love it. Squid, fried squid, but dumplings I think would probably be my favorite. Oh, it's just, I love a Chinese. You're tempting me. I really shouldn't have it, but you are tempting me. Thoughts on Shrek 5? Yeah, I thought somebody was going to ask me that. Shrek 5, again, it's kind of the same feeling as when I made that video about Indiana Jones 5, when that was greenlit in the pandemic. I sort of feel the same. There's nowhere for the story to go, and it's the same with Shrek. Although difference being, of course, Shrek is an animation, so age isn't really an issue, unlike Dial of Destiny, and that movie turned out to be a piece of shit anyway, so I will give Shrek 5 a chance, but I feel the story wrapped up nicely with the 4th one. Not that the 4th one was amazing, but it was pretty final, and I think it was bittersweet, but I mean, it wasn't great. There was an apology for Shrek the 3rd, but if the writing has got to be good, it's got to be good. I think if the writing is at least on Puss in Boots 2 level, then I'll probably warm up to it a bit more. But obviously now, is it true? I think Universal and DreamWorks are partnered or something. There's different people working with DreamWorks, so we'll see. And the animation style is kind of different now as well. So I'm not sure how Shrek 5 is going to look. It might look very weird. But I'll give it a chance. I mean, if the original cast are returning, then that's great. You know, it ain't all good till it's all good. Yeah, funny. I just kind of talked about Shrek 5's animation style. I can't guarantee you because I don't work for DreamWorks, but all I can say is it's likely that it will probably look the same as Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots 2 had a kind of amalgamation of CGI and the new kind of style that the bad guys had, which kind of worked and kind of didn't. I don't know how I feel about that, but I would have thought that DreamWorks would have wanted kept the animation consistent with the first 4 Shrek films, but who the fuck knows? Yes, I heard about the Donkey spin-off. I think Neil Patrick Harris would be a great Bond villain. I think he really would. But I don't know. Like, I think they'll want to choose someone, knowing the Bond producers. When they chose Rami Malek for No Time to Die, they want to choose someone who's popular, who's maybe been highlighted by the Academy in terms of their talent. So, yeah, that's why I really thought maybe they would try Christopher Nolan for director because of Oppenheimer, and I'm not saying they should get Cillian Murphy to play Bond. I think personally Cillian Murphy's too old to play Bond. I think he could play a Bond villain, maybe. But yeah, I'm curious about Bond 26. We've not heard anything. We'll see. We'll wait and see. What movie would you love a sequel for? A Bug's Life. I know it's an animated film, but I love that film. It's so funny, and it's got a great message about democracy, how dictatorship never wins. So I'd love A Bug's Life. I'd love to see those characters again. And it's been a long time since the first one, or since that film, 1998. I was a year old when it came out. It makes me laugh so much. Oh, don't ask me that. Oh, yeah, I've been trying to understand this timeline of Shrek and Puss in Boots for a while. I thought that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was a prequel because of the last shot in the film where they make it to you-know-where. If you've seen the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't. But I don't know. It's never been explained. I might have to look at a video on YouTube and see if anybody has tried to dissect the timeline. Yeah. Yeah, Walt Dawn. Not an untalented guy. I mean, Trolls is obviously made for young kids. I'm not the target audience for it, but I don't believe the Trolls films were made with the same love and care that Shrek was. They just pandered to their audience. So again, is what Despicable Me is doing. Whereas if you look at the first 2 Shrek movies and some of the earlier animated films way back then, and like Pixar's work, they're storytellers and they tell you a very good story. And some of the jokes in Shrek are actually quite adult. There's some innuendos there, but back when they were more daring, they thought we'll push the envelope a bit. So I'd like to see a bit more of that rather than just playing it safe just for the sake of cash, but whatever. Do you think Spectre were overused in the Connery era? I don't think so. No, I don't think they were. It's arguable. I see where you're coming from, but they were more in the background. I think Thunderball was when they made their big appearance. Really, they were hinted at in From Russia with Love, obviously, and then Goldfinger we kind of took a break from them, and then they were back, and then they were sort of back again with Blofeld in You Only Live Twice. So I feel like they were over Connery's movies. They were slowly kind of building up to Spectre, and obviously, yeah, Diamonds Are Forever having Blofeld back again, although that was more of a sequel to Majesties. So yeah, potentially in the 60s you could say they were overused a bit, but I don't think they were badly used. Apart from Blofeld being in drag, they weren't too badly used. It doesn't bother me, to be honest. Who has made the better Bond theme, Shirley Bassey or Paul McCartney? Good question. Well, Shirley did 3. She did 3 Bond songs. She did Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, and Moonraker. McCartney did 1, which is Live and Let Die. I do love that song. The Live and Let Die song is great. But I'm going to give it to Bassey because not only because she did 3, but 2 of them are 2 that I would put in my top 10. Like Goldfinger is a brilliant song. Diamonds Are Forever. They're just so Bond. She effortlessly made those. The Moonraker one is a bit crap because of the lyrics, but she does belt it out. I mean, getting the words Moonraker into a song is a bit stupid anyway, but Diamonds Are Forever, I don't care for the film very much, but the song always makes me feel like Bond. You know, I can't not think of Bond when I listen to that. It's like certain Bond songs. You feel like they're good songs, but they don't feel like James Bond. Goldfinger and Diamonds Are Forever feel like James Bond. Live and Let Die is unique in its own way, and it works for the film that it's made for, because it's trying to emulate that sort of voodoo feel, as well as the big orchestral feeling to sort of amalgamate with Bond. But they do kind of break the the beat and have that kind of reggae section, which is, it's a bit odd, but I still love the song. Don't get me wrong, and that orchestration, the dun 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 dun, is awesome. It's absolutely brilliant. Episodes you can watch for free. I can't remember what you asked me. Oh, it's the Thomas thing. Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to let me know at some point in more detail. Have I seen Billy Elliot? No, I have not, but I've heard of it. What franchise needs to end immediately due to it being tired? Despicable Me. Did Hugh Jackman need to come back as Wolverine? Does it ruin Logan? As I've seen the movie, I can answer this now. I was worried it was going to ruin Logan, but in some ways, it doesn't. It does honor the it does honor the legacy that was done in Logan. But in some ways, it is a bit of a cop-out, because, Logan put a final full stop to Hugh Jackman. But I feel like with Hugh, he's playing a slightly more outlandish version of the character in this film. It doesn't feel like the same version of the character that obviously, well, if you've seen Logan, you'll know what happens at the end. It's still the same sort of damaged character, but he's more funnier. They've loosened him up. They've made him more funny. So I think it works, and I think, because he's more of a double act with Ryan Reynolds, it sort of works. So, I'll always support Hugh Jackman in the role. He is amazing in the role. I think it is time for him to stop, though, because he is getting too old for it. But for this film, it was fun. It was nice to have him back just for one more time. But I always do see Logan as his ending. Hello, Blue Mountain Kitchen. Never seen you before, but thank you. Thoughts on the upcoming Lion King Mufasa movie? Sorry. Yes, I saw that Coraline is getting his screening. Oh gosh, I haven't seen that film in years. I think I might have seen it in the cinema when it came out. I definitely saw it on DVD. I must admit, I wasn't that keen on it. It was very well animated, but it was freaky. The buttons on the eyes and stuff. But I think Dakota Fanning was the voice of Coraline, if I'm correct. I'll give it another chance. I think it will. I liked the Henry Selick, style of animation in the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. That was great. That was fantastic. I preferred Nightmare Before Christmas, but Coraline, I'll go and watch it again. I'd say Tim Curry is pretty underrated. He's a good actor. Oh, okay. He's watching the series. Yeah, well, he's in for a treat. I mean, Series 3, I think, it's the most mixed bag for me. I still really like it because it's entertaining, and it's, the blockbustery side of it is brilliant. Like, all the action and the creature stuff is brilliant. They went all out with the budget, but the scripts really suffered. The series arc, no pun intended, is very messy. How can I say? I feel like it kind of loses its way, sort of, from episode 3 really to the end. It sort of loses its direction. Since Cutter died, you can tell they were trying to rewrite the script, and it didn't there was no through line, and because it ends on a cliffhanger as well. That scene in episode 10 would have been so much more impactful with Cutter still alive. But whatever. I still like the introduction of Danny Quinn and various other elements, so it's not a total failure, and it's better than series 4 and 5. But yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with series 3. There are things I love about it, but there are things I hate about it as well. It's just it frustrates me. My favorite series of Primeval is series 2. it just flows the best. I mean, there is still one aspect of it that doesn't quite work. Like, I think they revealed Leak too soon as the villain. They should reveal him in episode 6 when Cutter points the gun at Jenny, because then that has more impact. Aside from that, it's a bloody fantastic series, and so is series 1 actually. But yeah, I think Roger had the best villains overall. Yeah, Christatos was a bit poor. I'm sorry. What's my favorite war movie? Oh gosh, I love War for the Planet of the Apes. It's one of my favorite films, and my favorite of the Apes films actually. I really like Saving Private Ryan. I've not really seen that many war films, I have to admit. I do need to watch some more. So, I mean, the latest war film that came out, Civil War, whatever it was crap. Oh yeah, that's another rant I might do on this channel. Is the Shrek franchise tired? Yes, I'd probably say so. And once again, I've lost my questions. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Oh, God, there's loads. Is Nanny McPhee a charming or annoying film? I think it's charming. I don't know what makes you say it's annoying. I mean, I think the idea of it is that, I mean, yeah, it is. The story is well, it's not a modern version of Mary Poppins. It's a slightly, well, it's a very similar film to Mary Poppins in a sense, but it does have a heart. I think that is its downfall, is that it does feel very reminiscent of Mary Poppins, in that it's a magical nanny coming to fix the children who are naughty and reform the family. And the father, the sort of father who's in a difficult situation. Obviously, in the Mary Poppins, it was because of financial reasons. But Nanny McPhee was also financial reasons, but there was a heart to it. The mother was dead, and it was that. I can't help but like Nanny McPhee. I can't help but really like it. I've always really liked it. Me and my sister have been big fans of it. You sort of forget about Mary Poppins when you watch it, and I think the music is really good. I will review it properly one day. I think it's a solid film. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but it is good, and I think that I think there's a lot of fun to be had, and it's very British, and I like the fact that it just felt kind of like more British than Mary Poppins, which is kind of strange to say that, if you know what I mean. The humor felt more British, but the idea of Nanny McPhee being this character that physically changes as the children get nicer was appealing. No, it was doing something slightly different. Although the sequel is crap. The second one is rubbish. The Nanny McPhee and the Big Bang or something. I think it's called Nanny McPhee Returns in certain countries. I didn't enjoy the second one, but the first one is good. God, it's nearly 20 years old actually. Wow, that's quite something. Yeah, it has a really good soundtrack. I have time for 2 extra questions. Yeah, sometimes I've felt like that about friends. I feel like there are friends that sometimes friends take you for granted. I used to have a couple of friends who I met through YouTube. Feel like they didn't sort of understand me sometimes, and they were very sensitive at times. Maybe I wasn't always perfect, but who is? Who is? I ask you, who is? Towards the end, I did have to unfriend someone that I met on YouTube last year, which is a shame. But he got the wrong end of the stick in terms of, because we had been a bit distant for a while, and it wasn't personal at first. It really wasn't personal. I was just really busy, and I didn't mean to ignore him, but he took it very personally. And then it just got worse from there. He'd do things to get my attention. We'd always end up in conflict, and I just thought, no, I can't do this. I can't be friends with someone I don't trust. I can't be friends with someone who is going to be so oversensitive, who's going to make a drama out of everything. So sometimes you have to make those difficult choices. Yeah, I think dividing X-Men into 2 timelines is the only way to make sense of it, because me and my friend years ago, we tried to dissect the timeline and try to piece it together, and we found it very difficult. Once Dark Phoenix came out, we were like, oh, well, we can't really do that now because of what happens to Raven. So yeah, I just think basically X-Men Days of Future Past starts it again, which is a very clever thing to do in a lot of ways. So all of this stuff regarding First Class, the new cast kind of, after Days of Future Past, like Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, Logan is all in a new timeline. Although it's kind of strange, I think, because obviously Logan is technically part of that first timeline, so it is very confusing. They never really ironed it out. But yeah, I think splitting it into two gives you a little bit more clarity, but not much. What movie is, in your opinion, underrated, overhated, and overrated? Oh gosh, that's a three-part question there. What's underrated? I've said this before. Spectre, the James Bond movie, underrated, very underrated. Overhated. Oh gosh, what movie is overhated? Oh dear. Trying to think. I think the Star Wars sequels are overhated. I'm not saying they're perfect by a long shot, and I have reassessed them, and I will probably re-review them because there's there is a lot wrong with the writing department there, but I don't think they're terrible as everyone says they are. Yeah, as a trilogy, it doesn't particularly work as coherently as they want, but as individual films, they're quite entertaining. They're quite fun, and if you don't treat them as Star Wars movies, you can have good fun with them. Overrated. I don't know. Oh, what is the most overrated film I've seen? I'm trying to think about this. I think GoldenEye is a bit overrated. The Bond film. I still like it, but I don't love it like everybody else does. It is the best of Pierce Brosnan's Bond movies by far, but it's not perfect by any stretch. Why is Tim Burton such an inconsistent filmmaker? Fuck knows. That's like saying what is the meaning of life? We all have good days and bad days at the office, and I know Tim Burton's in the sort of noughties era has declined a bit. He's still a very good filmmaker, project dependent, but not everything works with his dark and gothic style. There are some Tim Burton films that I really don't like, and there are some that I do like. I'll give his Beetlejuice film a chance, the new one. I actually haven't seen the first one, so it might be a good excuse for me to review the first one and talk about it. But obviously, as you know, there are Tim Burton films that I hate, like his Planet of the Apes movie is an absolute shit show. So, yeah. Yeah. That you preferred Kananga to Kamal Khan. Yeah, I mean, I kind of changed my opinion because I saw A View to a Kill today in cinema, and I was thinking about Roger's film. Oh, excuse me. So it kind of changes a lot, to be honest, Sam. I'm not going to air this too much on here because it's live, but I'll just say, I mean, obviously since we unfriended, he did try to contact me a few times, and I just had to be honest and say, like, I'm very sorry. I just think it's better that we just part ways because we can't communicate with each other effectively. I know I was a part to play in that as well, so I'm sorry about that, but I think it's best if you just let this go. He was struggling to let it go. It got to the point where I felt like he was quite dependent on me. But there we are. Yeah. I don't know if you mean the CGI or the way that his reveal was like a twist at the end. There's always a twist at the end. Yeah. I'm guessing I know what you mean. I mean, that finale was a real... it was okay, but it could have been so much more. I feel like they did a bit of a Last Jedi thing where with Ruby's mum, it was just like, oh, she's no one. She's nobody important. They were trying to be pretentious about it. I didn't quite get it, Russell. Sorry. I think Doctor Who, honestly, it's not the resurgence that that we were promised. And I think the show should have had a few years off to sort itself out, so to speak, before jumping in with Disney and trying to reboot it. I think the series that we just got was a really mixed bag. I mean, I like Ncuti Gatwa and I like Millie Gibson. I love Millie Gibson as Ruby. She's great. They made the series for me, but it wasn't particularly brilliant. Also, the two of them barely had any conflict, which I was really surprised about. Anyway, rank these British filmmakers from best to worst. Oh gosh, I think you might have asked me this before. My favourite, I'll go with Ridley Scott as number one, then Edgar Wright, then Sam Mendes, then Danny Boyle, then Guy Ritchie. I've not yet seen the Olympics, not at the moment. Yeah, I mean, Donkey spin-off will probably be fine. It'll probably be better than Shrek 5, but we'll see. Rank these American filmmakers. The thing is, I've not seen any David Lynch movies. I'm really sorry, so I can't include him on the list. So based on those, I will say my favorite would probably be Francis Ford Coppola. Then I would rank Robert Zemeckis, then Tim Burton, and then J.J. Abrams. But I don't think any of them are bad. Rank the Harry Potter directors from worst to best. I'm going to say Mike Newell's number one because he directed my favorite one, which is The Goblet of Fire. And based on his directing style and the way that I reassessed this film recently, The Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm going to say Alfonso Cuarón as number two because he really told a good story. Like the storytelling in the third film is some of the best of the series. I was surprised. It's really gone up in my opinion in the third film. And it just flows beautifully. It has the best story flow. And he really made it a personal story. Then David Yates, obviously he has done a lot. He's obviously done a lot of films in this series. Sometimes his dark style is it's a bit indulgent in terms of the lighting. You can't always see what he's trying to do, but I feel like he's improved as he went along. And then Chris Columbus at the bottom, but obviously Chris Columbus is still great because he gave us the first two films. But yeah, I just personally just prefer the other guys. Thank you very much, A. Smith. You have a Paddington thumbnail, which is very cool. I'm looking forward to Paddington 3, actually. I think that's going to be really fun. Do you like seeing musicals live? Yes, I do, but I can't always afford to see them live. What are the favourites that you've seen? I saw Mrs. Doubtfire last year, which was awesome. That was really fun. I nearly went and saw it again today when I was in London. I was really tempted, really, really tempted. Thoughts on the short film they made with Daniel Craig at the Olympics? Oh, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's a brilliant tribute. And obviously, not only because it honoured the Olympics and Her Majesty Liz, rest in peace, but also it was the 50th anniversary of James Bond. So it was an appropriate time to do it. So it's a great little video. Is Goldfinger still your favourite Bond villain? I think it's a toss-up between the two of those. Obviously, Skyfall, is my favourite James Bond film. And the villain introduction in that is perfect. And the way they wrote that character is brilliant. I might say Silver, to be fair. Although Goldfinger, in terms of being a quintessential Bond villain of the old times, is still amazing. But I might give the edge to Silver, actually. Thoughts on Tim Burton's weird Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake? It sucks. I don't like it. I mean, Christopher Lee's great in it. Johnny Depp's performance is just strange. It's just bizarre. He sounds like Michael Jackson, and it doesn't really work. Yes, they included more stuff from the book, and they had some background context, but I mean, Tim Burton's style kind of worked for the Chocolate Room. I mean, the visual production design was great, but it was dull. I don't know. I was bored by that film. I couldn't get into it. It just lacked any sort of heart and soul and charm. I mean, but Freddie Highmore, bless him, he was great as Charlie. He really was, and the music was good by Danny Elfman. I didn't actually catch that flashback with Shrek and Donkey. I've not seen that film since it came out, so I need to rewatch it. Have you seen any Wes Anderson movies? Yes, I've seen. What did I see? I saw Asteroid City, which came out last year. Didn't really like it that much. I was really bored by it. Fantastic Mr. Fox. That was really good. That was well animated, very good fun. I really want to watch Grand Budapest Hotel, though. That does look fun. I might have seen another one, but I can't remember at this stage. Yes, he was very good as Rumpelstiltskin. Oh, Isle of Dogs. Thank you. Yes, I saw Isle of Dogs as well. Again, it's okay, but I find the pacing of Wes's movies a bit slow. Maybe it's just me. But Isle of Dogs had a very interesting story. I thought it was unexpected for what it was. You know, I got the film for my mum on DVD because she loves dogs. I don't know if she's seen it yet. I think she might have done. But it had a really good cast. Really good cast. What decade of popular music do you like the most? Oh, that's good. I'm not really as much of a music person. I just kind of listen to whatever. I mostly listen to film soundtracks, to be honest. That's my go-to. But in terms of popular music, I can have a party when I want. I've got enough friends to do socializing with, and that sort of parties and Christmas do's. We get out the karaoke. So probably 70s and 80s, I would say. They're the most fun. Something fun. But I like stuff within all those eras that you've suggested. Walt Dawn, yes. Oh, I didn't know he worked on SpongeBob. That's cool. Yeah, Skyfall is still my favorite Bond film. I'll be amazed if the next one can top it. I've not seen the Sausage Party series. I've seen the film. It's quite a film. It's a bit of fun. I think Sausage Party is just, it's so leery and outrageous, but it's fun. I mean, that ending, interesting. Sorry. Did you watch The Fairly Odd Parents? Yeah, I did actually. And yeah, they were fine. I think they were quite enjoyable. I wasn't a major fan of them, but whenever it was on, I quite liked it. Stanley Tucci would be a good one. Are you looking forward to Dune Part 3? Yes. I saw Dune Part 2. Technically reviewed it on the other channel, but I might do proper review of it on this one. I actually preferred it to Part 1. It was a bit longer, but it was stunning. It was absolutely beautiful. It's a masterpiece. It's a really good effort from Denis Villeneuve. He's slowly becoming one of my favorite filmmakers, actually. Most cringy singing moment in a movie. Probably Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia doing SOS. It's like slightly cringy there, which is a shame. Oh, bugger. Why do I keep losing the bloody questions? I'm so sorry. There we are. Is Denis Villeneuve the future of cinema? Well, I don't know if I go that far, but he's one of the best directors, as I've just said. So he's got, let's put it this way, he's got the audacity to do something different. So yeah, I think he cares about what he makes, which is all you can really ask for. Oh yes, Stanley Tucci was in Robots. Was cringy singing moment in a film? I think I've already answered that. I love Hugh Jackman as Roddy. Yes, he is very good as Roddy. I didn't realize it was Hugh Jackman because he was doing an English accent for Roddy, but he does a very convincing one. And then The Greatest Showman, yeah, he's also good. Is The Cat in the Hat Mike Myers' worst performance? Quite possibly, yes. Caroline is a good start to like her. Yeah. I wasn't too keen on the story, but the animation is quite beautiful. Thoughts on the Hercules remake being influenced by TikTok? I don't know where that tabloid bullshit came from, but I hope it's not true. Let's put it that way. Least favorite Bond villain and why? Gustav Graves. One, the DNA reconstruction plot is absolutely abysmal. It's so stupid. Two, Toby Stevens couldn't do much with that terrible script. And he's just a smarmy arsehole. I know he's meant to be, but I just don't find him. I can't take him seriously. You know, you can't kill my dreams, Mr. Bond, but my dreams can kill you. Oh, yeah, really. Why does Peter Jackson not make movies anymore? I think he is planning to make some more movies. Him and Andy Serkis are doing a new Lord of the Rings film, which is called Hunt for Gollum. So that's going to be interesting. Although I think Jackson is producing more. I think Jackson's. I mean, he's getting on in years. I mean, he's probably in his 60s now. I would have thought, or late 50s, and you know, he probably wants to sort of spend more time with his family. You know, and I don't blame him. But I'd love to see him come back and do more films. He is doing another Tintin movie as well. That has been confirmed. So, but let's face it, he made so much money with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and all those other things. So he's got enough money to. I mean, if he did nothing for the rest of his life, he'd probably be fine. So you know. He's the most famous person in New Zealand, to be fair. What's the better Bond theme? Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die. It's a hard one. I'm going to go with Diamonds because it's more quintessentially a Bond song, but the Live and Let Die song would still be in my top 10 as well. Sam Mendes doing a biopic about the Beatles. I'll give it a watch. Peter Jackson kind of did that recently during lockdown. There was a Disney Plus. Actually, no, there was a Beatles band together not short film, like an hour-long film released in the cinemas. Me and my friend went to see it during the lockdown, which was kind of fun. Yeah, Empire of Light was it was decent, but I wouldn't rush back to it. Sam Mendes' most underrated movie, American Beauty. I would say so, actually, yes, because I did see that last Christmas. I not reviewed it, but I really enjoyed American Beauty. I thought it was great fun. It was not the film I expected it to be. I was expecting it to be some kind of pretentious art house film, but it was so far removed from that. It was really good, really, really good stuff. And also had Mina Savari in it, who was hot. Do you think Shrek 5 has more potential than Toy Story 5? Of the two, yes, I would say so, because there's probably more room to tell a different kind of story. Was Toy Story 5, what can they do? I think there's more possibilities with the story, but again, that's a loose compliment. It's not really much of a it's not much of a thing there. Why is Shark Tale sexualized? I have no idea. But yeah, that scene when Lola is revealed and she's like doing a sexy dance it's a bit inappropriate. I mean, I would say that's the only moment that kind of is sexualized. The rest of it isn't too bad, but yeah, that was kind of inappropriate. Doctor Who reviews. Maybe, yes. I've got quite a lot to catch up on though. I do need to do Peter Capaldi's era. I need to finish that. Although I last looked at my Doctor Who reviews before I changed my channel name, so it was a long time ago. So I might have to, I'd have to go into it with a new channel name because I used to be called Mr. TARDIS 11, but now I'm called Pajak's Perspective. So I'll have to think about that. But yeah, because it would be good to cover Shooty Gatwa's era, but I haven't seen all of Jodie's stuff either. So yeah. Thoughts on Alec Baldwin's actions? I don't think he deserves as much prison time as the Armourer. I think the Armourer was the one at fault. You wouldn't bring a loaded weapon to a set like that. No, you wouldn't. You'd have blanks, surely. But what do I know? I think Alec Baldwin was only doing what was instructed of him. Well, in some ways, yeah, okay, I get it. He was the one that physically fired it, but under instruction. I don't know how it works, to be honest. It's a difficult situation. Yes, I now realise that when I watched American Beauty, the petals, they homaged it with in Madagascar with Alex lying in the steak. That was really funny. And also Madagascar homages Planet of the Apes when the fake Lady Liberty burns down on the beach. He goes, "You maniac! You burn it up! Darn you all to heck!" Oh, that was funny. Is Madonna's "Dying of a Day" the worst Bond theme? Yes. Is Wendy the best character in Peter Pan 2003? I would agree. Yes, I would say that. I quite like Jeremy Sumpter as Peter. I mean, he is good. I mean, it's kind of odd hearing Peter with an American accent. I don't know why. I don't know why I say that because the Disney one has an American accent, but because Wendy's English and she talks with an English accent, I expected Peter to talk similarly. I suppose it doesn't matter too much, but no, she was Rachel Hurd-Wood, who plays her, was just so effortlessly charming, and she kind of looked the part as well, and they gave her character so much emotional depth, which is why I actually prefer the remake. Sorry, because it's actually Wendy's story. She's the protagonist. It's about her coming of age and her realizing that she's growing up and she's got feelings for him, and but he doesn't. In his head, he's a boy. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't equate that. Um, so there's a lot of sexual tension in it, which is odd to say that about Peter Pan's story, but really it is that it does have that undercurrent, and I think J.M. Barrie, who wrote the novel, wrote that intentionally, that there was always going to be this undercurrent of sexual tension with the two lead characters, because it was about, it's the story really is about her. I think that's what the remake understood, that actually, even though the story is called Peter Pan, he's the title character, it's really Wendy's story. And I thought that the remake was a very mature way to tell the story. It's surprisingly beautiful, that film. I think the issue is that they released it at the same time as Return of the King. So obviously Return of the King, being the masterpiece it is, outgrossed most of the movies that year. So yeah, I think financially it didn't do as well as it hoped, but because it was released in December 2003, had no chance against Lord of the Rings, which was a shame. But I think it's a very lovely film, and yeah, yeah, that was my first ever film I watched Alec Baldwin in, was that Thomas film, which was really weird. I was a kid, I had it on VHS, and there was that really weird scene when he ate the celery. I don't know why that stuck out in my mind, but that was the one part I remember, which is really weird. Yes, actually, you're right. Beauty and the Beast, the remake, is overhated. I actually think it's one of the better remakes. I did a ranking of the remakes not too long ago, and that was fairly high up on the list. It's one I actually do quite enjoy. The stuff they add actually does sort of work. It does sort of enhance the narrative. Some of the songs, the added songs, are actually quite good. It's not a perfect film by any stretch. It is potentially a bit padded out, and it is a bit too long, but I think it's decent. It's one of the better remakes. Is Peter Jackson's King Kong the most underrated movie? I think it is quite underrated. I personally believe it's a brilliant film because it's driven with such heart and soul. Had they not made Lord of the Rings the way they did, they wouldn't have approached King Kong in quite the same way. Yes, it's long. It's probably a bit overlong, but it does have a lot of pathos, and you really actually understand Kong as a character. And I feel like they made that film at the right time after the success of Gollum on the motion capture of Lord of the Rings. King Kong, it was the best way to do it because you actually were able to, through Andy Serkis's performance, were able to care about King Kong. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful film. It's the first act that's a bit choppy. Once you get on the boat, it gets going a lot quicker. But the first 20 minutes are a bit slow, I do admit. When we're in New York, it does take its time. Potentially, it could have been 2.5 hours. That might have been better. I think the original cut was like 3 hours, 7 minutes, which was very long. And then the extended edition added like 13 minutes. I personally thought the extended cut was unnecessary, but It did add some action scenes into the film, which was quite nice. But yeah, if you get the King Kong Blu-ray Ultimate Edition, there's a bonus disc, and much like Lord of the Rings, they have a big behind-the-scenes documentary of making King Kong. So definitely worth checking that out. It's just as good as the Lord of the Rings behind the scenes. I would love to see that film re-released, and it's barely re-released. It's a shame, but maybe one day. I hope to see Nanny McPhee in cinemas next year. It shows for the 20th anniversary. Yeah, that would be nice. I think I would go and watch it actually, because it's a film that means a lot to me. It's quite nostalgic. Me and my sister were big fans of it. It's just so charming. It's just, despite the fact it is a rip-off of Mary Poppins, I can't help but like it. I just can't help but really, really like it. Call me soppy, call me sad, but it's a great film, and it's got such a heart, and there's so much rubbish out there, and it's one of those films that it's just wholesome. It's a very wholesome film, but its downfall is that it is a rip-off of Mary Poppins, which is why I can't score it as a perfect score. One scene that actually gets me in that movie is when Colin Firth, who's running after his daughter, who he thinks is his daughter, has been taken away in the carriage, but it's actually his scullery maid, which is a good twist. And Angela Lansbury was in that film as well as the evil aunt, well, not evil, but the very strict aunt who was forcing him to marry someone within a month. Otherwise, she would stop paying the rent and the kids would be, let out on the street or in the workhouse or wherever. Yeah, good film. Really good film. You're making me want to watch it again. Yeah, Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit. I've watched that in the cinema a couple of times since lockdown because it was re-released. Madagascar, I've not seen in the cinema since I first saw it, but I would go and see them again. They are fun. Well, no, I mean, Tim Burton produced Nightmare Before Christmas. Producing and directing are two different things. So he probably had a big hand in terms of the animation. But yeah, Henry Selick was the main director. You're right, yes. Did Night at the Museum need to be a trilogy? No, I don't think it did. The two sequels I don't think are that good. The second one is awful. And the third one is just meh. It's all right. Like, it's good as one movie. I think the first one is pretty good. I don't know if it's Robin Williams' worst role, actually. I do think he is good in that part as Teddy Roosevelt. It's a shame that was his last on-screen appearance in Night at the Museum 3 before his death. And there's something bittersweet, even more so, about the ending of the third one. The third one, at the very least, closed the door on it. They knew that it was time to wrap up the trilogy, as it were. Is Home Alone the worst franchise of all time? I don't know about the worst of all time, but it's the most consistently worst. After the second film, every installment is just terrible. So, I suppose similarly to Terminator, after the second entry, and same with Alien, after the second entry, there's probably no point bothering, really. Also, there's a new Alien film coming out, Alien Romulus, which again looks the same as the other ones. So, I do need to talk about the Alien films again. But there we are. Is 2012 one of the worst movies in the 2010s? I don't know about one of the worst ever. It might be. It's visually very impressive, but that's really all there is to it. It's just loads of destruction. It kind of reminded me in a way of Transformers. It's just a grotesque amount of action and explosions. Although 2012 tries to have a heart, but it's just so bogged down by so many characters and convoluted subplots that just don't go anywhere. And the ending is just so stupid. How is Africa the only part of the world that isn't affected by all this? It's a bit weird. 2012, it's just dumb. It's meant to be dumb fun, but Roland doesn't understand that epic doesn't always mean longer. It tried to be too epic, and I think that's its downfall. I've done a rant on the movie, so go and watch that. Well, that's an interesting question because you're asking two questions there. I think it is canon, but the Daniel Craig timeline is it's a self-contained timeline within the 5 movies. So to ask if it's canon with the other films is irrelevant because it's not. the other 20 films don't count as far as when you're watching the Craig films. You don't need to worry about the other ones. So you've already answered your question there. Ooh, okay, you're new to the Bond franchise. You've got a couple of options. So you want my advice? Well, there's 3 or 4 different options. You could start where it starts with Dr. No. It's not going to be the most impressive one, but it's a good start. You could also start with Goldfinger or The Spy Who Loved Me, because those two are quintessentially Bond. And by that, I mean they're the ones that perfect the formula the best in terms of the classic Bond era. Or you could start with Casino Royale, which is Daniel Craig's first one, which is a reboot of the franchise. So you can ignore the first 20 films and just go in with Casino Royale and go with the more harder edge style of Bond. So it depends on your preference, really. If you've got the box set of the films, then yeah, you can potentially start in any order, really. But that would be my recommendation. Most charming childhood movie. Oh gosh. Well, Peter Pan 2003 is one of them. I think also the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Not so much the sequels; they weren't as good, but The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was. I loved that film so much. I remember when I was young, when the film came out. Me and my sister were taken to see it once by our parents. We just fell in love with the film instantly, and then we saw it again because McDonald's did these 2 free kids cinema tickets for Narnia. And because we loved the film so much, we asked our parents if we could go and see it again, and we did. And also because we missed the first 5 minutes of the film the first time we went to see it, we missed the air raid sequence. So it was great to see that, and that's always been one of my favorite family movies. It is like a baby version of Lord of the Rings, but then Lewis and Tolkien were friends. C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, they were friends, so they probably shared a lot of the same ideas. So it's not necessarily plagiarism. But although Prince Caspian, it's not a horrible movie, but the Lord of the Rings isms were poured on a bit too much for the second one, and it was too dark and too violent. It was just battles after battles, really, not much substance. And the Voyage of the Dawn Treader sort of had the best of both in some ways. It had more magic, but it also had the same amount of action. But I think it was just a bit more of a tired film. The series kind of ran out of steam a bit, although Will Poulter gives an amazing performance as Eustace. So they kind of ended that as a trilogy. They are rebooting Narnia for Netflix. But yeah, I did love that. I loved seeing that first one, and I remember so vividly afterwards asking my parents, "Oh, who was your favorite character? What was your favorite scene?" And this is what I'm talking about, where I sort of fell in love with film when I was a kid, and I was always transfixed on the idea of seeing, going to the cinema in a dark room and being immersed in a film. So yeah, Narnia was great. It was just great. Is Titanic James Cameron's best movie? I don't think it's his best film, but it's a very good one. He won 11 Oscars for it, so there's a lot of skill involved in making that. I guess I would slightly prefer Avatar because it's more of a movie to my taste. Titanic is not necessarily to my taste, but I do really like it. I've seen it a number of times, and it is an emotional film, and that second half is quite harrowing to watch. Titanic, I just can't give it a perfect score because the first half is... some of the dialogue is a bit corny, although the romance does work in the end. But, the movie is just so well designed. You can see why the Academy was sort of blown away by it. They never expected it to be that good. So it's fair to say Cameron did handle it very sensitively. Excuse me. The Polar Express. Yes, it is a charming film. It is a very charming film. I love The Polar Express. I watch it every Christmas. What's the best Muppet movie? It's kind of hard to say because I've not seen all of them, but the ones I have seen, probably Christmas Carol or Treasure Island. One of those two. The 2011 one is also very good, though. I think Michael Caine's good as Scrooge. Yeah. Most overhated Doctor Who character. Oh, God. Martha Jones. People don't seem to like her, but I think she's better. And Donna, I think actually Martha is my favorite companion of David Tennant. Controversial, but there we are. Ugh. Oh yeah, I went to see The Mummy for its anniversary. They already screened it in the UK. I enjoyed it. I personally think, actually, yeah, that's one to answer someone's question about overrated movies. The first Mummy film, good film, but slow. God, it's very slow in a lot of areas. My favorite of those three Brendan Fraser movies is the second one, Mummy Returns. Although the first one is better than Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, but parts of it are quite slow, I will admit. Hello, Spicy D254. That's a great name. Is Ezra Miller finished for? Yeah, I think he is, to be honest. Is Elemental the most underrated Pixar film? Actually, it could be. Yeah, it could be one of the most underrated Pixar films. It's a very cute love story. Not seen Buffy, I'm afraid. Sorry. Am I looking forward to Alien Romulus? Kind of answered that question. I would say I'm not fussed really either way. It looks more of the same. I'll probably go and see it, but I doubt it's going to impress me that much. The last couple of films were, I mean, Prometheus is a bit rubbish, and Alien Covenant was just okay. So, Octopussy, the worst movie name of all time. It's probably the most bizarre. It's an odd title for a Bond film, but I don't know about the worst though. Well, I kind of already answered that about the Star Wars sequels. Someone asked me a question: what do you think are the most underrated films? I think they're underrated in the sense that they're entertaining. They're great to watch. They're fun to watch. The writing, yeah, it probably is the issue, to be fair. The writing, whilst not bad, they don't fit together as well as they would like. And not everything adds up. So they should have written the scripts together. But I don't think they deserve the bashing that they've been getting. They're not awful. Maybe in a few years' time, people will appreciate them. Who knows? Just like the prequels have gotten a little bit more appreciation now. Thoughts on Trolls Band Together 2001? Don't get me started on that prick. I'm sorry. I hate that guy. He is awful. He made a really horrible video about Harry Thomas, saying he was the worst person alive. And I've reported that guy like 5 or 6 times. And I posted comments on his videos because I was so angry. And then he started to turn the comments off. So, you know, he thinks he's all big and intimidating. He thinks he could just bully people. But no. If he goes after someone like that again, I will continue to report him. He is a horrible person. He should not be on the internet. He should not be on YouTube. I'm not going to go as far as to say he's the worst person alive, like he said about Harry, but he's an absolutely despicable arsehole. There's another word I could use, but I'm not going to use. But yeah, if you don't know who this guy is, avoid him. He is just not worth your time. And he has these controversial opinions on things just to get attention. He's not a nice guy. He's horrible. Thoughts on Pirates of the Caribbean 6 without Johnny Depp? Yeah. I mean, you can go ahead and make it, but it's not going to be popular. Without Depp, there's kind of no point, really. Kevin Spacey, I don't know. I haven't really got much of an opinion on that. It's for Alec Baldwin. I'm kind of happy in some ways. If this is about the shooting thing, then yeah, because it wasn't all his fault. But if it's to do with something else, then I'm not really sure. Oh god, that's a question. What's the best of Robin Williams' role, Mrs. Doubtfire or the genie? God, that's a really tough question. I love both. Oh, I think I'll say Mrs. Doubtfire, just by the slight edge. Yeah, I know about Skyfall being made for the 50th anniversary. I didn't see the Rowan Atkinson film. I'm really sorry. What fan base is more toxic, Star Wars or The Last of Us? Oh, Star Wars, because of The Last Jedi. Enough said. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, where have I gone? I know Robin Williams' death will be 10 years ago. Where were you when you got the news of his death? I was on holiday. I was in Turkey at the time. I think my dad was looking up on the internet, and he said, "Oh, Robin Williams has just died." I thought, "Oh, what?" I couldn't quite believe it. He was like, "Yeah, he committed suicide." It was like, "Oh, geez," it was shocking. It was really shocking. But that's the thing about mental health. You never know when someone is suffering, and sometimes people hide behind a facade. God knows I've tried to do it. Ooh, not not take my own life, but just try to put up a front. A lot of people do it. Oh well, Last of Us 3 has been announced in a sort of kind of way. They released the making of documentary for part two, and at the end, Neil basically sort of confirmed part three was in the works. I don't really know. I don't think Ellie and Abby will cross paths again. I think Abby and Lev will make it to the Fireflies. Um, I think potentially Ellie might go back to try and get Dina back. Maybe something happens to Dina and Ellie ends up raising JJ again, and it kind of mirrors Joel and Ellie from the first one. Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe the whole world dies. Who knows? Maybe everyone dies and humanity is extinct. Um, who knows? I hope Neil's got a good idea for it. Top five favorite Bond villains off the top of your head: Silver, Scaramanga, Goldfinger, uh, Blofeld. Various versions of Blofeld. And I think that's kind of it at the moment. Thoughts on David Tennant being called the 14th Doctor? It's getting too convoluted. That's what I mean. Doctor Who needs to just stop trying to rewrite everything. It's just getting too confusing. I don't mind David Tennant returning. I'm no problem with that. He's my favorite Doctor. But just the whole thing of his Doctor now being two different incarnations, and it's just ridiculous. I would have rather Jodie regenerate into Ncuti Gatwa, but oh well. Yeah, I feel like Wes Anderson is an acquired taste. Like Asteroid City, I kind of felt the same as you, Sam. Like that's how you felt about Grand Budapest Hotel. I thought, well, Asteroid City, I like the way this looks. This is fantastic, and his symmetrical shots are impressive, but it's just not to my taste. It's just not to my taste, really. Tom Hollander would be a great Bond villain. Yes, he would actually. If they were to recast Blofeld, Tom Hollander would not be a bad choice, actually. I mean, now that Christoph Waltz and Craig have finished No Time to Die, that's entirely possible. But I don't think they'll have Blofeld in the next one. I think they'll wait quite some time before we see Blofeld again. Thoughts on Parasite winning Best Picture? I would have been happy with either one, to be honest, because I love both of them. I think they're both amazing films. Parasite, I would want to have the money. I might add it to my Blu-ray collection. I think it was a really good film. Me and my friend Nick went to see it, and we really loved it. It was a really really good film. 1917 might be the one I slightly prefer, and it should have won Best Cinematography. It really should have done because wow, stunning looking film. Sam Mendes and Roger Deakins again. But yeah, I totally get it. Academy do what they do. Silver and the Sheaf are Craig's best villains. Yeah, I would agree with that, to be fair. I've not seen Fairly Odd Parents and New Wish. I can't answer that. Sorry. What's the better Alan Rickman role, Harry Potter or Die Hard? Gotta say Harry Potter, I'm afraid. Severus Snape, he defined a character across the whole decade of films. And Snape became one of my favorite characters in the series, and partly because of Alan's portrayal of the character. But I mean, he is a fantastic actor in other things, of course, and he is great in Die Hard. His villain is just so iconic. Sky, Yeah, Skyfall is amazing. Yeah, no one's going to dispute Skyfall. It's brilliant. Yeah, well, I don't want to say she deserved it, but I would just say be careful what you wish for, JK. Be careful what you say because it will come back to bite you. I think there's a time and a place to air those thoughts. Maybe she just chose the wrong time and the wrong place. If she had those views, I would have said, fair enough, that's your opinion, but don't air it in public because, she has betrayed a group of her fandom that made her famous. And what does she expect, the fallout to be, But then again, she's so wealthy, she probably doesn't care what she says. I think she's obviously quite ignorant and deluded about the subject. She needs more education on the subject, but yeah, if she should have just apologized and said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to change my opinion. I'm sorry if I offended anyone, but this is just how I feel. If she was a decent person, she would have said that. It does irk me a little bit because obviously I love Harry Potter and she gave us Harry Potter. I mean, the damage is done now, so yeah. You think 2 hours and 40 minutes is too long? Well, you're not seeing many 3-hour films. I sat through the Lord of the Rings extended editions in the cinema. Granted, I love the films, but plus the adverts, they're like 4.5 hours long. Return of the King, I think I started my screening at 1:30 in the afternoon. I got out by 6 o'clock. So, yeah, it was quite a long day, but I think it was worth it. It depends on the film, really. It depends on the film. My friend from work met the voice actor that played Crocker, and he said I got an F. What do you mean by that? I'm sorry, I got no idea what you're talking about. What Johnny Depp role was more annoying, Willy Wonka or Mad Hatter? Probably Willy Wonka. What Disney Star Wars movie do you prefer, Rogue One or The Last Jedi? Rogue One, I would say. Do you collect Blu-rays? Yes, although I don't collect them as much as I used to because of streaming. I can't afford it anymore. But there are a handful I do still collect. I will try and collect a few more once I'm in full-time work. I just don't have the money at the moment. So why 4K Blu-rays? Oh, sorry, I missed the question. Which sequel would you be more interested in seeing? Johnny English 4 or Shrek 5? Honestly, Johnny English 4. Why are 4K Blu-ray so expensive? The world's expensive, man. The world is expensive. It's probably the manufacturing costs as well because it's such a high quality image and sound that it takes a lot more to produce it. So I can only assume that's the reason. I tried purchasing 4K for a time, but it was too expensive. So I've got to stick with Blu-ray for now. Will Shrek 5 end up like Kung Fu Panda 4? I hope not. I hope Shrek 5 is better than Kung Fu Panda 4, but who knows? How would you rank James Cameron's films? Oh, gosh. I'm not sure if I've seen all his films, but I think which one? I've not seen True Lies yet. I've not seen his earlier ones. My favorite James Cameron film is potentially Avatar, the first one. Avatar, then Avatar 2. Probably then the first two Terminator movies, then Titanic, then Aliens. Actually, no, potentially Aliens, then Titanic. No, actually, yeah, Titanic, then Aliens. I can't think of any others that I've seen, so I might have to get back to you on that. What was your favorite childhood show, Scooby-Doo or the Pink Panther? I liked both, but probably Scooby-Doo. Wasn't the Beatles song Now and Then? None, because I don't remember it, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest there. Most annoying kids show. That guy Fred that was on YouTube, he's so annoying. Oh God, I hate that. I hate that guy. He's just so annoying. Most annoying kids show. SpongeBob could get a little bit annoying at times as it went on. Not so much the earlier stuff, but later on. Can't think of any others at the moment. Have you seen any Stanley Kubrick movies? Yes. I saw 2001, Space Odyssey. Very good. Really enjoyed that. I saw Clockwork Orange as well. I mean, it's not a film I would choose to watch out for leisure, but I watched it in my previous college to study it. And it was well made. So it's not to my taste. It's very uncomfortable to watch. I didn't really like a lot of the stuff I saw in that film because it has a lot of sexual content and rape scenes. Yeah, I just personally didn't feel very comfortable with it. But he did, it's well made. So I appreciate that. But everybody has their taste. Have you seen Apocalypse Now? Not yet. It's on the list. Has Ryan Johnson recovered from the Last Jedi backlash? Possibly, yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, I imagine it's one of those things that he doesn't really care. He just kind of made the film his way. I'm sure it hurts in some ways that it's gone that far, but, he just made what he thought was going to be good. So there we are. The fan base itself is toxic, though. Excuse me. I'm going to have to stop soon. I'm getting tired. What would you think if they announced the Madagascar 4? I'd go and see it. Put it that way. Could Denis Villeneuve direct a drama, or is he only an action filmmaker? Well, you say that, but I feel like a lot of his movies are dramas. Like Blade Runner 2049 technically is a sci-fi drama. Dune Part 2 has a lot of drama. It's more of a biblical drama, but still, when the action is there, it's there. I think he could do anything he wanted. I think he's got the talent. So, yeah. Why does Mike Myers put on a Scottish accent for Shrek? He wanted to make Shrek more common tongue, as it were. So having him talk a bit like this added a bit more energy to the character and made him feel less threatening. And also it was to add to the comedy, let's be honest. But yeah, it was something to do that, it was to make him sound more like middle class or common or something. But yeah. Would you like to see any Harry Potter spin-off movies? Yeah, I mean, obviously, the Fantastic Beasts movies are in a bit of limbo at the moment. I don't know if we're ever going to get the fourth or fifth. It doesn't look like it. Quidditch Through the Ages would be quite good. Some more period set stuff would be nice. Instead of the HBO series that they're going to make retelling the books, I'd rather they tell some of the history that J.K. Rowling created. But what do I know? Thoughts on Christopher Nolan's The Prestige? Never seen it. Sorry. Thoughts on the art of stop motion? It is the hardest form of animation. I attempted it myself once for my last college, and it was painstaking. But if you do it well and if you have the patience for it, you can create something pretty beautiful. It is the most impressive form of animation for me because animators literally have to physically move everything the tiniest bit frame by frame, and it's taking pictures. And then you put all these pictures together and it kind of runs as a scene would. And then you do a lot of the work in post-production where you move the mouths of the characters and overlay with the voice. And yeah, it's tricky stuff. But if done well, it can be very beautiful. Yeah, I know. I just mentioned about the Harry Potter series. Opinion on Safin as a villain? I think he's pretty good. His screen time is limited, but I still think he's very creepy. I like what Rami Malek did. Would have been nice to see more of him, but I still thought he was good. Serviceable. Best Pixar short. For the Birds. Love that one. I mean, good for Christopher Nolan. Congratulations to him for being knighted. I don't think it's too soon. I think, good for him. Well deserved. Okay, well, worst would be Dunkirk. Then I'm going to say Tenet, although I do love Tenet. Then I'll say Interstellar. Then Oppenheimer. Then Batman Begins. Then Inception. Have you seen Community? I'm afraid not. Sorry. Yeah, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes is a bit of a parody. It's not intentional, but it kind of headed that way, didn't it? Is The Parent Trap charming? I mean, I've only seen the '98 version with Lindsay Lohan. I think it is actually quite charming. I'm not going to lie. It's one that I do have a soft spot for that film. Thoughts on Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? I will do a proper review of it, but I really do love it. It's a great movie. It's a little bit long, but I feel like it is really sweet. It's a really sweet little film. Is Hook Robin Williams' most overrated role? Well, Robin Williams didn't play Hook. He played Peter Pan, a grown-up version of Peter Pan. The film was just called Hook. I don't know why the film was called Hook. It's potentially overrated, but then I think Robin actually was one of the best things in that film. I did a review of Hook, which was quite controversial because I don't think it's that great. I see what Spielberg was trying to do, but it didn't really work for me. Watch my review for further thoughts. Oh, nice, Sam. I'm glad you like Danny McPhee. Yeah, the first one. Who's the most successful Harry Potter actor post-Potter? Well, probably Daniel Radcliffe, to be fair. Yeah, well, I'd like to see him try. Yeah, he was a sissy in Shrek the Third. Yeah, no, they have to come up with someone original. Is Beckett an underrated Pirates of the Caribbean villain? Yes, I think so, because Tom Hollander made him sort of sinister. There wasn't much of a voice raised, but you got the vibe of that character, that he was a controlling, manipulative, devious guy. But I really like the scene where he dies because it's quite powerful. He admits defeat and he's almost can't believe it. He's like, it's just good business, but he understands that he's lost this fight. In terms of it's not personal, it's business. This is the way it goes, and he just accepts his death. I mean, it's a very valiant death. I've never seen anyone die in such an epic way. So, yeah, he did a really good job. CGI or practical effects? Both, because both should complement each other. But you don't over rely on one or the other. Do you enjoy British films or American films more? Either or. I'm not complacent. I'm not fussy. Why did Danny Boyle drop out of No Time to Die? Oh, you didn't hear? Creative differences. Well, come on. It doesn't take a genius to know why. He obviously disagreed with the ending. Let's not be shy about it. Okay. I might stop in a moment, guys. When it gets to 2 hours, I think I'll stop because it's it's getting late. Yes, I knew about Voyage of the Dawn Treader. It's funny how that happened, actually. Disney gave up on Narnia after Prince Caspian because it didn't make half the money that the first one did. And then Voyage of the Dawn Treader was left in limbo, but Fox took it on. And now Fox are owned by Disney. So Disney have now reclaimed Voyage of the Dawn Treader, which is kind of ironic, really, but there we are. Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween or Christmas movie? I'd say it's a bit of both, but it's more of a Christmas film, I think. The Raja Gosnell Scooby-Doo duology overhated. A little bit. Though I do see where people are coming from, and they don't honour the cartoons at all, really. They go in bizarre directions. The writing is not good. The mysteries are bizarre in both the films. But the second one gets the slight edge because it has more classic villains. And the five that they cast, the cast of the Mystery Inc. were really good. So I can't say that they're awful films. They're just badly constructed from a script point of view. Yeah, I've seen Deadpool and Wolverine. Yep, I enjoyed it. I do have popcorn at the cinema. Yes, salted. Henry Mockingbird. No, I've not seen him yet. No. Yeah, I think so. Actually, Ewan McGregor's great in Train Spotting. I've not seen the second one, but I've seen the first one. Um, yeah, he's really good as that character. Uh, Calvin Dyson, David Zaritsky. Yes, really like Calvin Dyson. He's probably the best Bond YouTuber out there. His style has really improved over the years. I used to think he was very petty and very particular about certain things. He has a lot of petty criticisms sometimes, but he's very entertaining to watch, and I think he's comes across really well, really nice, and very warm. You know, he comes across warmer than he used to because there were some of his old videos he might have come across a little bit snobbish. I know he didn't mean that at all, but he's actually a genuinely nice guy, and you know he's done so well to get the success he has. So yeah, and his reviews are now more in depth and more detailed, which are brilliant, and I'm really pleased that he was able to do that. And some of his skits can be quite funny. He's got a real good personality, and I like that he had the Mrs. Bell notification button. He's a great guy. You know, I'm sure he'll be around for a while. David Zaritsky, not seen as much of his videos. He too is very nice. He's a very nice guy. You can tell he's passionate about Bond. His collection is amazing. Again, I think he can be a little bit over analytical, much like Calvin. They can be a little bit over analytical, but it comes from a good place. They're both passionate, and I think they're genuinely lovely guys by the way they come across. So obviously I don't know them personally, but just from what I've seen, they seem very nice. This is England. I know which films you're talking about, but I've not seen them. Sorry to hear that, Jared. It's a real shame. Yeah, you know, I know Harry isn't perfect, but no one's perfect. But no one deserves to have a hate video made about them. That's just totally out of order. So hopefully these people will learn their lessons. Hello, Mr. Arabus. Season 2. I'm guessing you're talking about Doctor Who. Yeah. Yeah, I hope it's better than that season we just got, because that was a really mixed bag for me. Oh, gosh. Well, from best to worst, Batman would be first, then Nightmare Before Christmas, then probably Dumbo, then Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, then Alice in Wonderland. Coraline, I did talk about it earlier. I don't know if you were on the stream then. When I first saw it, I didn't really like it because I found it a little bit frightening when I was a kid. I'll probably watch it again for its anniversary screenings, but I mean, it was all right. Like, it wasn't like a terrible film. It was beautifully animated, but I just wasn't keen on the story. But I have to look. We'll have to wait and see. Yes, I'm looking forward to Dead Reckoning Part 2. Loved Part 1. Brilliant stuff. Well, the word recast comes to mind, Royal Roo. I think they'll recast the baby. As much as I hate to admit it, if those movies have made money, then they'll carry on. What do you think of Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor? I think he's good. You know, he's not brilliant. He's not great, but he'll do. You know, he's fine. He's got charisma. He's got charm. I find his accent very difficult to understand sometimes, much like Capaldi. The diction is difficult for me to hear every word he's saying. Like that scene at the end of the finale, I'll call it the time vortex confrontation with the villain. I won't say who the villain is in case you haven't actually seen the series, but when he's saying, I will defeat you right now, or whatever, and then he goes into his speech, and I'm like, what? So, yeah. I mean, but he's only as good as the writing as well. Let's put it that way. Russell's writing has been a bit up and down, but there's always a twist at the end. He's by far the most difficult Doctor to impersonate. But I think if he stays in the role it'll be another couple of years at least, 2 to 3 years. It seems to be 3 series for all of them. So yeah. Spirited Away, no, I have not, but I want to watch it. I don't remember that bit, Jared, to be honest. I've only seen the Dumbo remake once, and that was in the cinema. But needless to say, I probably didn't care about it then, and I probably still don't now. So I don't remember the teacher. I'm sorry. It's been so long since I've seen that. Have you seen the live-action Valley of Parents movies with Drake Bell? No, I have not seen them. Lashif or Kamal Khan? Lashif. Chris Columbus Home Alone movies, great. They're great. Well, the first one is brilliant. It's a classic. The second one is good, although it's exactly the same. It's a carbon copy of the first one. It's just in New York. It's pretty much the same movie, but it gets away with it because it's charming. But anything after Home Alone 2... Oh, thank you, Jermaine. That's really kind of you. Yeah, I'll definitely do some more rants when I can, when I've got some time. Thank you very much, A. Smith. I appreciate that. Any other YouTube reviews you want on your channel? You mean in terms of cross collaboration? There's no one specifically. If you want to work with me, I mean, okay, yeah, message me, let me know. I'm sure we can find something, but we'll have to see. I can't promise anything. The Beatles movies. I think I saw one during the lockdown that was made by Peter Jackson. He did some kind of, I don't know if it was some kind of tribute to the Beatles. Like, it was like a documentary about the Beatles, released. Well, the 1 hour version was released in the cinema, but he did like an 8-part documentary series on Disney Plus. But Peter Jackson has always been a fan of the Beatles, so yeah. Yesterday, I didn't get that film. I really did not understand that whatsoever. That's one film I find really overrated, with Himesh Patel. Like, he's a guy that's, he says, everybody forgets who the Beatles are, and he starts writing their music and stealing their music, and then they reappear at the end and like try and sue him for copyright. And it's like, what? I don't get the message. I don't know what Danny Boyle was trying to do. I really don't know. Fuck's sake. Where have I lost? What about Teletubbies All the Tweenies? In what context, Jared? What are you asking me? Which one do I prefer? What do I like about them? I'm not sure what the question is. Sorry. It just says, what about the Teletubbies All Tweenies? Did you say Harry Potter was more actually Snape's story? No, but I would say he is a huge part of the story. His story is crucial to Harry's development. So, yeah. Yeah, actually, I think I would say that biopics are slightly overdone. I mean, there was a Bob Marley one that came out earlier this year, which was all right. I've not seen the Amy Winehouse one though. I mean, at this point, you could probably do a ranking video of all biopic movies. There's probably going to be an AC/DC one coming soon. I think it's been in development. Could the baby be grown up in Last of Us 3? Yeah, potentially, yeah. Does Thomasin McKenzie ruin The Last Night in Soho? Oh, Thomasin McKenzie, yes. No, I don't think she ruins it. I don't think her acting is brilliant, but she's a lovely, attractive girl. I don't find her annoying, personally. Sometimes her accent is slightly difficult to understand, but I think she's pretty good. Billy Connolly could voice Shrek's father. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad shout, to be fair. They might well have a flashback with Shrek's parents. I mean, in the show, Shrek the Musical, they have Shrek's parents at the beginning. Thoughts on 12 Years a Slave? Amazing. I love that film. It's very harrowing to watch, but it is a masterpiece. we'll probably have to review it at some point. I'd happily see Eccleston come back. So yeah, our DreamWorks out of ideas. It's hard to say. We'll see how the next few projects go. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to new Wallace and Gromit. Obviously, I'm sad that Peter Sallis is no longer with us, but Feathers McGraw's coming back, so yeah, that's going to be fun. Christopher Eccleston regretted being the Doctor. No, not necessarily. He didn't regret being the Doctor. He just didn't like the way Russell and the team ran the show. He didn't like the production and the way it was run. He thought that it was too demanding. He thought the days were too long and the shooting times were... So he just quit after one series. I think he obviously fell out with Russell T Davies, which is a shame. But I don't think he regrets it. I think because he's come back to Big Finish, so he took a long time away from it. But I think he realized a lot of people like him. He's grown a lot of fans since he left. So yeah, I'm very pleased that he's come back to it in a roundabout sort of way. Yeah, same for me actually. A Smith parody when I went to see it too. I've not seen The Good Boys. No. Favorite YouTuber? It's a good question. I don't watch many YouTubers, to be fair. Doctor Who Poop I like because they do some funny videos, which are really cool. Yeah, I mean, I've never actually come across Mr. Blocky. I hope to never come across him based on what you've said. Oh, nice. Gromit's getting dressed up for the first time. Right. As this is the last batch of messages, we'll end it soon here. So, yeah, season 2, The Last of Us. Really looking forward to that. Loved season 1. Surprisingly, really good. Probably the best video game to like live action adaptation that I've seen of all the ones I've seen. I wouldn't say that the first series was perfect. I mean, there was a lack of infected in the series, but they got the Joel and Ellie relationship right. I personally loved Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal as Joel and Ellie. I thought they were great. And the changes they made, especially with the Bill and Frank episode, were brilliant. The show did have me teary-eyed a few times, I must admit. But season 2, I think it's only going to cover half of Last of Us Part 2, because obviously Last of Us Part 2 is a massive game with a massive story. I'm guessing Ellie's season Ellie's story will be covered in season 2, and then season 3 will be Abby's story, unless they're going to intercut the stories and maybe have it as like Seattle Day 1, 2, and 3 across the 2 seasons. Who knows? And obviously Santa Barbara being on the end and then Jackson being on the beginning, but who knows? We'll wait and see, but I'm looking forward to it. Hans Zimmer or John Williams? I'll probably say John Williams, but I do like Hans Zimmer, but I think John's created more iconic soundtracks. No worries, Doug. Thank you for your contributions. Oh, yes. Well, I suppose they are, but then they're made for kids, aren't they, who aren't going to care? So, yeah, when I was a kid, I watched them, so there we are. Thank you. See you very soon. Two of my favorite episodes are... Yes, The Empty Child and Dr. Dance's very creepy story. Very scary indeed. Thank you very much, Reese or Rice or whatever your name is. So, yeah, I'm going to call it a night because it's been 2 hours. It's time to hit the hay. But, yeah, I'll be back with more content to come very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. Sorry, as I explained at the beginning, my personal life has been pretty crazy. But in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'll be back to do some reviews. Maybe sooner than that. Maybe sooner. We'll see. But thank you for your questions, and stay tuned for more Q&As as well in the future. So until next time, see ya.